The JSP lifecycle in Jakarta server pages. Now we are considering JSP lifecycle here. As you have seen, JSP pages don't directly return the content to the client, but client browser themselves. Instead, they rely on some initial server-side processing that convert JSP page into JSP implementation class, which handle all the requests made of the JSP. Here, before processing a request, the content determines whether JSP source is new or has changed. If so, the container translate and compiles the JSP page into a servlet class or page implementation class before passing the request to the servlet for processing. As you can see in this figure, JSP servlet container decide whether the JSP page has been translated before. If not, JSP container start with the translation phase. Phase to generate the JSP page implementation for servlet, which is then compiled and loaded and initialized and used to service the requests. If the JSP container detects the JSP page has already been translated and hasn't subsequently changed, the request is simply served by the implementation servlet that already exists inside the container. The lifecycle of the JSP page can be split into 4 phases: translation, initialization, execution, and finalization. Translation in this stage in the lifecycle of the JSP page is known as translation phase. When a request is first made for a JSP page, assuming it hasn't been precompiled, the JSP engine will examine the JSP files to check it's correctly formed and that syntax is correct. If the syntax check is successful, JSP engine will translate the JSP page into its page implementation class, which takes a form of standard Java servlet. After page implementation servlet has been created, it will be compiled into a class file by the JSP engine and will be ready to use. Each time a container received a request, it first checks whether JSP file has changed since it was last translated. If it has, then it's retranslated into that. The response is always generated by the most up-to-date implementation of the JSP file. After the translation phase is has been completed, the JSP engine will need to load and this is about initialization. Will need to load the generated class file and create an instance of the servlet in order to continue processing the initial request. Therefore, the JSP engine works very closely with the servlet container and the JSP page implementation servlet will typically load into a single instance of the servlet of memory. This single instance will be used to service all requests for the JSP file. In a real world web application, those requests most likely to happen concurrently. So your JSP page must be multi-threaded. Prior to Servlet 2.5 specification, the Java Servlet specification provided two separate threading models that could be used for a servlet. These models determines whether single or multiple instances of a servlet can exist. The default threading model for any servlet is the multi-threaded, the one that requires no additional work for the developer. In this model, the container creates only single instance of the servlet class and send multiple requests to the instance concurrently. In the past, the content would support this feature by creating implementation page that implements a single thread model interface. When implementation page implements this interface, the JSP container creates multiple instances of the JSP class. Each instance handles a single request at any given time. After the servlet is loaded, the container initializes the servlet instance with the call to the initialization method. For a JSP implementation servlet, that method is the JSP init method, and as name suggests, this method is used to initializing the implementation servlet. Behavior of the both methods can be regarded as identical, and each is called exactly once. Although JSP init method is automatically generated during the translation phase, it is possible to override this method in the JSP page by using a declaration. Execution. After web container is loaded and initialized, the implementation servlet, the initial request can be served. To serve the request, the web container calls _service method of the implementation servlet. As we mentioned, each request of the JSP page result a separately threaded call to the _JSP service method. _JSP service method provides all the functionality for handling a request and returning the response to the client. All the scriptlets and expressions ends up inside this method in the order which they were declared inside the JSP page. Notice that JSP declarations and directives aren't included inside the method because they apply to the entire page. It is not to the single request, therefore exists outside in the method. The _JSP service method may not be overridden in the JSP page. And then finalization. In this phase, the lifecycle is in the finalization phase. As with the previous two phases, there is a corresponding method in the implementation servlet for this phase. The method is named JSP destroy method. Like destroy method found in the standard servlet, this method is called by the servlet container when the page implementation servlet is about to be destroyed. This destruction could be various reasons, such as server being low on memory and wanting to free up some resources, but the most common reason is that the servlet container is shutting down or being restarted. After this method has been called, the servlet can no longer serve up any request. Like the destroy method, JSP destroy is an excellent phase to release and close application level resources when the servlet is shutting down. To do this, simply provide implementation of this method via JSP method declaration. Here you can see HTTP request is connected to new change, and if it is yes, locate the so new change is connected to JSP via if it is yes, and locate JSP. JSP is connected to to servlet source via JSP translation. JSP servlet is connected to servlet class via JSP compilation. Servlet class is connected to servlet instance via servlet loaded and initialized. servlet instance is connected to HTTP request, and here new change and no, and then it's connected to servlet instance and HTTP request. Now this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching it.